Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is Suffix 5. Suffix today is phobe. Okay, somebody wants a screenshot? Do it right now. Let's get right to it. The suffix phobe is connected to words to form nouns that refers to people who have an extreme fear of something or a strong hatred for someone or something. All right, so every time you hear phobe connected to the word, that's what it usually is. Let's continue. In English, we got phobe directly from French, spelled the same way. It actually makes sense because we don't pronounce the E at the end. And in French, they probably wouldn't either. So we don't say phobie, we say phobe, okay? Which came from the Latin phobos and also taken from the Greek phobos, meaning fear and panic. All right, let's continue. Of course, in English, we have phobia, which is the noun. That's actually the actual condition or the fear. That's the disease or whatever, which means an extreme fear or hatred of someone or something. And we use the suffix phobic as an adjective from phobia. Okay, so phobe means the person, phobic is the adjective, meaning of or relating to this sort of fear. Okay, is the suffix for adjectives, and phobe helps to form nouns, which means a person who has this fear. Okay, let's continue. Here are some of the most common examples, and there's a lot. There's like practically a couple hundred of these words where it ends in phobe. But here are some of the most common ones. All right, let's look at anglophobe. For students that are trying to learn English, we hope that you don't end up being an anglophobe, or if you were, we hope that you get over it, because an anglophobe is a fear of or probably not hatred of English speakers. So you're probably just too afraid to speak in English, or to English speakers. Maybe you're afraid of making mistakes, and you could become an anglophobe. Now remember, Anglo or Anglo, that always has something to do with English, like from Anglo-Saxon originally. All right, let's continue. Aerophobe or aviaphobe. All right, these are both used for fear of flying. So fear of flying, so avia, is for flights to an area, also the same thing. Acrophobe, from Greek, the acros meant like highest or extreme. And of course, this is a fear of heights. This is one of the most common ones that you hear. Homophobe, of course, over the last decades, you've heard this a lot. Person who hates or is strongly prejudiced of homosexuals. Yet this is one of the cases where probably hate works better than fear. If we say somebody's a homophobe, it's not so much that they're afraid of homosexuals. They usually strongly dislike them. That's what it means. Claustrophobe, of course, Latin, the claustro, came from bars or locks. So this, of course, ends up being someone who has an extreme fear of small or enclosed places, like you feel like you're locked in. So that's where the claustro comes from. It came from Greek, basically being, like almost behind bars or locked in something. Okay, nomophobe. All right, we got two for nomophobe. A person who fears or dislikes laws. Well, actually, most of the time we hear it, it's not in regard to this one. It's more in regard to this more modern one. Or fears being without cell phones. All right, and that actually came from the abbreviation of no mobile phone. So we call them a nobophobe. So this is another one that's very common. A person that, if they're not around their cell phone, they go crazy. It's almost like they're an addict or something like that. All right, great. And of course, xenophobe. A fear of foreigners, also coming from Greek, the xeno meant foreign or strange. Because sometimes you wonder, where do they get these beginnings? Well, why xeno? What does that have to do with foreigners? Well, it came from Greek, meaning foreign or strange. All right, and we got 6 examples here just to cover some of this, to give you an idea about it. Here's the first one. After the 9/11 attacks, some people became aviaphobes, at least for a short while there. Maybe some people were afraid of flying. They thought there was going to be terrorist attacks or something like that. Number 2, if you're going to be a construction worker, for tall build or on tall buildings, really, you cannot be an acrophobe. So if you have to be up on those high levels, no, you'll never survive if you're an acrophobe. All right. Number 3, he was accused of being a homophobe. All right, maybe somebody might think that maybe someone who's prejudiced against homosexuals, or strongly dislike them. Number 4, some senior citizens are techophobes. Okay, well, that's when you fear technology. Maybe you feel like there's too much to catch up on, and maybe some of your senses don't work as well. Your eyesight is not as good, your hands is not as good, and now you have to adapt to this new technology. So some people could become technophobes. Okay, and number 5 here, she cannot live without her cell phone. She is a nomophobe. All right, that's perfect there. And you can say that is the behavior of a xenophobe. Well, whatever it is, somebody disliked foreigners, whatever they were doing, that would prove that they don't like foreigners. Okay, anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it was clear. I hope it was a very informative video. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.